Hey everybody, welcome to Snakes and Scotch. Look at all the people that are already in. So many people have been in for like the last 2 hours, or at least maybe they jumped in 2 hours ago and jumped back out, and are maybe back in. I don't know. Whole bunch of people. Amanda, Hog Structures, Taylor's in. Taylor, you made it. Well done. CT, John Peters, Keith Harper. Hi, Keith. You guys are up late or early, as it were. Dustin, Fizzy, Erica. Hi, Erica. Warrior Brood's in. Positive Daily. I like daily positivity. Robert is here. Amanda, Amy. Hi, Amy Bentley. Amy compiled all my questions today. She did a lovely job of it. Okay, good to see you all. Sorry if I missed your name, you guys. So here's what today's all about. By the way, I've got Captain Farrell with me. He's been my pal lately. I talk in some videos. Hang on one second. Wait. That one just, hold on. Oh, come on. Really? I can't use a computer? That's the problem now? J.W. Carlson. There we go. Hi, Bob. We just got our first Python, in part thanks to your excellent videos. Congratulations on your first Python. That's awesome. Congrats. I assume it's a ball python, but it could be anything. That's great. So anyway, I talk in some of my videos about how snakes will go through phases of behaviors. If they're acting a certain way, they're not going to necessarily always do that. They go back and forth. And the captain here has been in a phase the last several months where he is out with me every morning. He's at the front of his tub. I open it up and he's like, "Hey man, you mind if I come on out?" He comes right out onto my hand. He's like, "Let me just get up on your shoulders." And then we make coffee together, and he's great. He's been my pal lately. And that used to be Lydia Dietz did that for a very long time, but now she is in mama mode. So she stays in her den most of the time. Okay, let me just, whoops. Eric, okay, I'll respond to this one, even though Eric, how I found your channel and I have been binging everything about some. Oh, that's so nice. I'm glad that you found the channel. Michael, I was going to answer your question really quick. Michael from Louisiana. Would a carpet python do okay in a 40-gallon enclosure? A young one would, but they'll outgrow that very quickly. But yeah, you could if you had a baby juvenile. But carpet pythons get big, so you'll want a large enclosure eventually. Lori Weiser, thanks for the super chat. You're so sweet. From Darwin's Marie and the ever ravenous Bendy. I'm so glad that Bendy is ever ravenous. For those who don't know, Marie and Bendy both came from me. Marie was my first clutch of ball pythons. Lori got a lovely girl, and then she got another lovely girl, a clown pied from me. That's Bendy. And then Darwin is a snake that didn't come from me, but still a cool snake nonetheless. All right, so we got a lot of questions in here. I'm going to answer a couple, and then I'm going to go to the Patreon stuff. We've had our ball python for 2 months, and she's not shed. That's okay. They shed when they're ready. I always say that like every 6 weeks is a good bet, but not always. It depends on how much they're growing, how quickly they're growing. If you're feeding them smaller meals or you're feeding them less often, they'll take longer to shed, but they shed when they're ready. Kent, thanks for the super chat. Got my Green Room Pythons shirt and stuff. Thanks so much. It's all awesome. Thanks, Kent. That's really nice of you to super chat that. I'm glad you got your shirt and the stickers and such like that. There's a lot of Patreon folks in the chat right now. A lot of members of the Horde of Keepers in the chat. There's a lot of stuff going on in the green room right now, and the Horde of Keepers are privy to that over on Patreon. And but I haven't announced it on YouTube yet. There's a number of things though. I think Amy put a message out to just Patreon on Discord today saying, here are the things you can't mention in the chat because we haven't talked about them yet. But if you're interested in knowing what's going on in the green room, very exciting stuff, patreon.com/greenroompythons. That's all I'm going to do for promoting Patreon. But it's nice to see all the Patreon supporters here in the chat. Okay. So, this is what we were talking about. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show off snakes. I'm going to show off little Pip. We're going to show off the smallest python in the world. I'm guessing there's pygmy pythons that are smaller than her, but not many. Not many. So I'm going to show off snakes, and I have a large list of questions from the Horde of Keepers, who we were just talking about. Many of them are regarding husbandry, stuff like that. So if you're watching this video, especially after the fact, if you just clicked on this and you're wondering if you should keep it on or not, just have it playing in the background while you do your dishes or clean snakes or whatever. And especially if you're new to snakes, there's a lot of beginner questions here, and there's a few more advanced questions in here. So we're going to cover a lot of snake care, how-to stuff in this video today. So Captain Farrell, let me see if I can, there we go. Now you can see him. He's kind of pushing my hat down because he's not the lightest snake. You know, he's not the biggest snake in the world, but he does have some weight to him. All right, here we go. And then I'll say my usual thing is that I am not going to get to most of your questions. I'll try to occasionally answer a question if I see it, but I'm not going to see most of them because I'm trying to read the questions off my board here. And so if you have a question that you really want me to answer on screen here, super chat it and I will see it. And if I don't see it, somebody else will see it and they will text me to let me know that it's there. So that's how you can be sure that your question is answered, because most of the time I'm going to be looking at the clipboard. But also, if you ask a question to me in the chat, watch the chat, because there's a lot of experienced people that will answer your question. You'll get it answered even if I don't see it. So no need to ask the same question a million times, because it'll probably get answered in the chat. And if you want me to answer it, just super chat. So that is that. Matt, let me just get the update on Spitfire here. Matthew, what's going on with this? Bit me 3 times today. First time in months. She got superfood aggro. Oh, so it was a food bite, huh? It wasn't her. Just to catch everybody up, I have a video where I had a week to try to tame down a snake, the bitiest snake I've ever hatched out. Went to Matthew. Her name is Spitfire. And Matthew's worked with the snake, and she's calmed down quite a bit from what I understand. But 3 bites today, huh? That's well done. Well done. Okay, so where else was I on this? Oh, let's talk about what I'm drinking here. So in this Green Room Pythons monogrammed, look at this. Oh, you can't see it. Green Room Pythons monogrammed Glencairn Scotch glass. I have, oh man, that's good. Just cracked open the bottle of one of my very favorite scotches. That is Lagavulin 16. This was given to me as a gift by our very own Amy Bentley, who's in the chat right now. Amy, can you believe that I'm just opening that bottle right now? Because she gave it to me a while back. She's a classy gift giver. I always say, buying somebody a bottle of whiskey, classy move. Classy move. All right. What else? What else do I want to talk about before we get to these questions? Oh, I'm heading to the Amazon next week. So is Amy, by the way. Speaking of our very own Amy Bentley. So is Dave Kaufman. And so is our friend Amy Benzie, who probably isn't here. But we have two Amy's on this trip, and their last names are very similar. So it's going to be confusing. But we're very excited. I have the green room looks really nice, just this view that you're seeing. But if you saw my pile of Amazon jungle paraphernalia that's not packed yet, but it's all just out and not laid out nicely like you would think you should do when you have a big trip like this, it's just a massive pile. I will be laying it out nicely, though, possibly tomorrow. So very excited for that trip. I'm trying to get content produced so that you guys have stuff to watch while I'm gone for 2 weeks and such like that. It's been busy. All right. The other thing, black box cage box should be, I had a massive pallet delivered 2 days ago. Yesterday I had a massive pallet delivered, and that tore my house up because it was great big cages, because I have some snakes that got upgrades. So I've moved Echo out of this enclosure. This is now Handsome Dan's enclosure. He's in there right now. First time today he got in there, but he's been in there about 2 hours. And so Echo, Stella's cage is empty, her old cage. So Echo and Stella are now in bigger cages. And there's another one that's waiting for Maya that's all ready for her, but she's in deep shed. So I didn't want to put her in a new environment while she's in shed. She's not a very sensitive, like nothing really freaks her out, but that's not nice to like just pull her out of her home while she's in shed. So I'll wait till she sheds and then she'll go in a nice big cage, which I'm very excited about. But it's been a lot of work, and Black Box sent so many hides. Oh my gosh. I've got these hides stacked up here. I've got a whole bunch around. They sent a bunch more of those. Let me show you what Clint sent me. Those are all medium hides that I have. But he also sent the big size ones. So this is designed specifically for Maya. Originally it was designed specifically for Maya, but now they sell these. You can get these top opening hides, and they're for any snake that, anybody will use them. The inspector uses his. It's underground. You can make a little subterranean hide. He goes in this front opening hide, but this is sitting on top of a hide with a hole in it, and he can get lower. So that's pretty cool. And then also, just any snake that goes underground, they can go down into their hide. So it's pretty cool. And then I have some big regular ones. So anyway, I have so many hides, and in future live streams, we're going to do some giveaways. We're going to do some black box hide giveaways. It's going to be very exciting. But I'm not prepared for it today, so we're not going to do it today. Because I, first of all, don't know how to run a giveaway on a live stream. I've never done it before, so I got to figure that out. And because I'm going to the jungle, I can't manage shipping something out this week. So we're going to wait till I'm back, and I have time to figure out how to do that. And then we're going to do some black box hide giveaways, which is going to be fun. And would you like to see, I have so many hides in the green room. I have a number of snakes. They all have different hides. I have extra hides. I got a lot of hides. Would you like to see my favorite hide ever? Because this came on the pallet as well. Don't ask me if these are, you can ask, but I don't have an answer for it. Don't ask me if these are available to buy. I don't know if Clint made this specifically just for Pip, or if he plans on selling them. But this little black box hide is pygmy python sized. So cute. It's still big on her, so I still have a bottle cap. Her hides are bottle caps. And I'll bring her out in a little bit. You know what I'm gonna do actually is let's give the captain a place to be. Here you go, buddy. Anyway, her hides are bottle caps, and that sits inside a larger hide. So right now that square hide is covering a bottle cap, and she doesn't always use the bottle caps. She a lot of times sits fully out in the open on her hides. She's not a very timid snake, so, but I want to give her as much hide as possible, So that's that situation. Should we pull her out? No, let's not yet. Let me start on this, because if I get to talking about Pip, we're going to be 2 hours into this, and I got a lot of questions here. So we're going to start here. I will get her out, though. Don't worry. And other snakes. Hang on. I got to pay attention to my messages. Yeah, Mom, you need to be watching on your computer. The chat won't show up in your Kindle. That was the text from my mom. She wants to be in the chat, you guys. She wants to come in and say hi. But it's not going to work if she's watching on her Kindle. Okay, so here we go. Hi, Mom. Welcome, by the way. I'm sure you'll be in a minute. Here we go. Spencer Lambus from the Royals Projects asks, after keeping several species of python and Handsome Dan, which is the trickiest to keep, which is the most rewarding to keep, and which are you currently having the most fun keeping? I guess that's 3 questions. Yes, it is, Spencer. Yes, it is. But you know what? I'm going to answer them. I would say none of them are tricky, really. But I'm going to say black-headed pythons, because the feeding, first of all, massive food response, and getting her sort of used to me versus food, that's a little bit tricky, I guess. And I have, not every black-headed python keeper does this, but I have her on a schedule that's closer to what she would be getting in the wild. So she's eating every few days, like every 4 days I feed her. Sometimes every 3, depending on what she gets. And she gets much smaller meals. She would, if she was a ball python, she's at the size where she would get medium rats. And right now I would not feed her a medium rat. I give her small meals every 4 days. So that's that one. What was the other? Let's see. Oh, which am I? Wait, hang on. Which is the trickiest to keep? Which is the most rewarding to keep? They're all rewarding. That's a tough call too. I would say literally the most rewarding would be the ball pythons that I keep, because they actually reward me with baby ball pythons. So, because those are the only ones that I'm breeding. So we'll say the ball pythons, but they're all just emotionally rewarding. They all are in different ways. And then, which are you currently having the most fun keeping? I've always said that if I could only keep one species, it would probably be a super dwarf retic. They are very fun, but they're all fun. It's a really close call, But I like the challenge of the retics. I have 2, and they're both sort of polar opposite personalities. I have to handle them very differently. Okay. Look at the captain periscoping out of that hide. What are you doing, buddy? I wish I had a camera set on that. I usually do, but I didn't have time to put it up today. Sorry. Anyway, did I answer Spencer's questions? I think so. All right. Warrior Brood, who I believe is in the chat right now. I think I saw him. Hey, how quickly did Handsome Dan pick up target training, and how is the progress going for him? I know he likes to strike the target sometimes. Yeah, he does. He picked it up. I'm going to guess probably the 4th feeding. I noticed that he was keyed in on that target, like he knew what it was about. Oh yeah, Warrior Brood's here. And Mom's in too. Look at that. Hi, Mom. Everybody say hi to Gene Bledsoe. Glad you made it, Mom. So really only a few feedings for Handsome Dan when and he started recognizing that target. The thing is, you know, the super dwarves, both my retics are very well target trained. They've been target trained for a long time, but they still occasionally strike at the target. Did I put this video out? It's in a video. I don't know if it's in one that I'm editing right now or one that I put out. They all mesh together in my brain, but I have a video of Stella striking repeatedly at a target, and I had to. Oh, you know what? I think it's like a TikTok. I think it's like a short that I put out. I had to just give her the food. I was giving them Reptilinks, and to get her to sort of save her teeth and get her to stop striking, I just gave her the food. She's very well target trained, but what happens is this is tricky for snakes because, you know, when they go into food mode, they're not in thinking mode. And so what we're asking them to do with target training is, we understand that you're in food mode, but you also have to think and interact with this target and do a behavior in order to get that food. It's really hard for a snake to do. So even snakes that are very well target trained, like Handsome Dan, like the retics, will sometimes forget that. They just go into food mode and they start striking. They know that target means food, and so that's what they're going to strike at. It's pretty interesting. I don't know that I'll ever get them to not strike at the target ever again. It just happens occasionally. You know, they do it. I'd say Handsome Dan does it more than anybody else, though. Oh, Clint is in. Clint, I was just talking about all the stuff that you sent me, and I showed off Pip's hide. I don't know if you were in at that time, but I showed off some big hides. We talked about upcoming Black Box Cages giveaways. That's very exciting. So anyway, if you weren't in, you'll have to go back and watch later. So I'm seeing a lot of congratulations, and I don't know what it's for, but congratulations to whoever we're seeing congratulations for whatever that is. I think it's just great. Congratulations. Where was I? Feel like I was in the middle of something, and then I got sidetracked, which happens to me sometimes, you guys. We were talking about Handsome Dan target training. I think we got that. Okay. Jason Philp, who is definitely in the chat, hey Jason, says, can't have a live stream without a little B. Arthur update. Well, Jason, you already know the major update, but I will announce it here, even though I'm putting it in a video that I'm making right now. But I feel like the people who come to these live streams are special, and you should have some behind the scenes info. Hang on a second. I'll just get her out since we're doing this. Hey, little one. For those who don't know, this is little B. Arthur Dent, and she has a dent on the other side of her face, which she's hiding right now. And it's made it so that in the year and a half that she's been here in the green room, she hatched here a year and a half ago. This looks like a hatchling still because she's only had hopper mice, but I've had to assist feed her for a year and a half until recently. She took her first meal by herself. We're so proud of her. I made a video about it for Patreon, and they got to see, because here's what happened. What I try and do is I offer a meal, and she sometimes strikes the meal with a mouth open, and then she pulls away with the mouth open. She's never closed her mouth on a meal before. But then she'll also sometimes instinctively wrap a meal, and when she does that, I leave it with her and I close her tub, and then I come back a little bit later and collect it because she always leaves it. Well, this time I came back to collect it and she was eating it. So proud of her. So I started rolling the camera and made a little video for Patreon, and we were all very excited, myself and the Horde of Keepers. Super excited for this little girl. So she went into shed right after that. And so I didn't offer her a meal, and she's finally shed out. She looks great. I did offer her a meal the other day, and she wasn't interested. And that's okay, because she oftentimes is not interested. She's kind of got to be really hungry to get to where she starts being striky and rappy, rapping and stuff. So I'll offer again in a week, and I'll offer again when I get back from the Amazon. And I believe that she's figured it out now, but she might not eat every time. I think she just has to be hungry. It's probably stressful for her to eat. There might be a thing, there's definitely a thing going on with her jaw, and it might make it uncomfortable for her to eat. So I'm okay with her just eating whenever she's ready, So that is, that's the update on little B. Arthur Dent, named by the Horde of Keepers. Named first by Keith Harper, who said, "Oh, we got to call that snake Arthur Dent," from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And then I found out that he's a girl. And so I told the Horde of Keepers, I said, "You guys, that snake is a girl. It can't be Arthur Dent." And they said, "Well, how about B. Arthur?" So it's B. Arthur Dent. Great name. Great name. Okay. Here we go. We're whipping along. We're 3 questions. That's actually, to be fair, Spencer had 3 questions in one, but still, we got to go quicker with these. Here we go. Heavy Lamplighter asks, what is something you didn't expect to need on your trip to the Amazon that you are certain you're packing this time around? More beef jerky, because the locals love it. It's not a thing that they have in Suriname. And so I'm going to pack a lot of beef jerky, and a collapsible stool. A stool that, you can get them on Amazon. They collapse flat. They're just a round disc, but then you can, and they're a stool. I would rather not just sit on rocks all the time. So, and then what did you think you needed that turned out to be just extra weight in the pack? $1 bills. And the reason has nothing to do with strip clubs. Get your mind out of the gutter. I brought a bunch of 1s, 5s, 10s, and 20s because you can't use a card there. You got to use cash if you're going to buy something. And I figured 1s would come in handy because I'd be buying a lot of cheap stuff or inexpensive stuff, And as it turns out, they don't take American 1s. They do take American money, no problem, but they won't take 1s because it costs too much. The exchange rate is too much to deal with the 1s. So you've got to pay with 5s, and you don't get change back. So you're just rounding anything you buy up to the nearest 5. So I was heavily weighted down by $1 bills. I would have walked a lot faster had I not had all those 1s piled away in my pack. Okay, here we go. Now when Amy does this for me, when she compiles all the questions from Patreon, she puts them in categories. So that was Green Room Pythons questions. So we're done with that category. Now we're on to general snake questions. This I bet, is a big category. Okay, so Rainbow Boa 12 says, what do you know about the causes of morph-based neurological problems, spider, woma, super spot nose in ball pythons, or the jaguar gene in carpet pythons from a scientific standpoint? Well, I know that scientifically, the spider gene is not neurological. It's a deformity in the inner ear, basically, which causes the wobble or the corkscrewing. That's an inner ear problem. They just discovered that not long ago, and that's it. Just that each one is different. There are certain neurological problems. Now, the morphs that are in the spider complex, if they end up with that wobble, I don't know off the top of my head which ones are in the spider complex and which ones aren't, but woma might be. That wobble might be the same thing, but I don't know. But it's one of those things that it seems like these genes come with potential problems. There are genes that come with potential problems, and in the case of spider, everybody says that your snake will have the inner ear issue, but how bad it is you won't know to what extent. the problem is going to present itself. So a lot of people that have spider ball pythons, and they're like, I haven't seen a wobble at all from this snake. And then years down the road, as the snake gets older, it'll start to wobble, or there will be a stressful situation. Maybe their husbandry is off or something like that, and they'll start to see a wobble. It'll start to come out. But scientifically, a lot of these issues have not really been studied because there's no reason for science to spend the money, actual scientists to spend the money on a study to figure out why there's this one problem in this one morph of ball pythons. It's just us that are interested in it as keepers and breeders and such. Hang on, I gotta check these. I gotta check these text messages. Oh, I've got a super chat from Jen. Where is it? Hi, Viz Pythons. Hi, Jen. Oh, there it is. Here's a graduation present for B. Congrats on eating unassisted. Ah, that's so nice. I'm going to take that $5 and I'm going to buy B a bit of enrichment for her tub. Thanks for that, Jen. That's really sweet. That's Jen is one of your delightful moderators, ladies and gentlemen. In Discord and in the chats. Braden, thanks for the super chat. I just wanted to send something to support the channel. I have 2 single gene animals, Mojave and a spider, both adopted, rescued, both eating well. That's great. Congratulations. That's fantastic that you adopted/rescued a couple snakes. That's great. Thanks for that super chat. I'm sure that your spider is eating well. That is the one thing about spider ball pythons is everybody says, I've never kept one, but everybody says that they eat really well. So that's fantastic. Okay. Where was I at on this? Okay, so we did that. Chaos Keeper has a number of questions. We're going to start with these 2. Have you ever had a power outage that required you to heat your snakes in an alternate manner? And if so, how did you do that? If not, do you have a plan for such a possibility? Yeah, I have not had that come up. I live in Burbank, Southern California. So if we have a rolling power outage or something like that, the power would come back on in plenty of time. But I think the best way to deal with that, aside from having a generator, which would be a great thing to have, especially if you live in an area with really cold winters and power outages are likely, just get yourself a generator. It's a lot of money, but it's worth it to save your animals. But just warm water bottles, just to, have some sort of hoard some empty water bottles with caps. And if you have a power outage and you feel like you need your snakes to have some heat, put some warm water in those water bottles. And the other thing is that your snakes are going to be just fine for quite a while, probably, unless your house, unless it's, I guess it depends on how long it takes for your house to get cold. You have a power outage. It's very cold outside. How long does it take your house to drop down to, 60 degrees or whatever? But your snake inside their enclosure where it was warm is going to be fine for a while. If they're in a fish tank, the temperature is going to match the room temperature pretty quickly. But if they're in a tub or a PVC enclosure or something like that, that'll retain the heat for a while. Okay, Chaos Keeper's next question is, do you have any advice to prevent heating mats from sagging or drooping off the bottom of the glass over time? Yeah, I attach mine to corrugated signboard. So when I used to do the Patreon scroll with the chalkboards, that's corrugated signboard, and I have a whole bunch of those, obviously. And I just cut it to the size of the mat and put it underneath. That way, it pushes the heating pad up to the cage. I mean, cardboard would be fine too. Would work as well. I think. Hold on. Let's see. Here's another super chat. John, this is a great question. What separates the python from the boa biologically? Well, they diverged millions and millions of years ago. I wish I had a number, but a long time ago. They are very different snakes. We're going to talk about a cool boa thing that's happening right now scientifically. We're going to take a little dog leg based on John's question here and talk about something that I think is super exciting. But just difference between a python and boa. These are snakes that are so different that they don't even give birth the same way. Pythons lay eggs, boas give live birth. Pythons have heat pits, but most boas do not, although there are some that do, but most boas do not. They live on complete other ends of the earth. Pythons are old world snakes. Boas are new world snakes. They're just completely different animals. Now, here's the little dog leg. The largest snake in the world, heaviest snake in the world, is the green anaconda. Many of you probably know this already because you got the news feed a couple days ago. So 6 days ago now, I think, Science came out with an article. I'm just saying Science generically because I can't say who it was, but Science came out with an article or came out with a study, whatever, saying that they have found a new species of green anaconda. That's like saying we found a new species of elephant. Like the green anaconda is one of the most visible reptiles in the world. They're massive snakes. And the reason that they hadn't found this species is because they thought that all of the green anacondas living in South America are the same species because they all look exactly the same. It's just the same snake. But as it turns out, the species, the green anacondas in the northern countries, the northern green anaconda, that's the new species, diverged from southern green anaconda 10 million years ago. I do have a number for that because I just read the thing. They diverged 10 million years ago, and here's the difference. And I'll put it into perspective first. The DNA difference between human beings and a chimpanzee is 2%. We're 2% different from a chimpanzee. The difference between the northern anaconda and the southern anaconda DNA, 5.5%. So they are wildly different, more different than we are than to chimpanzees, but indistinguishable when you look at them. They look exactly the same, which is crazy. And they're not. Apparently, they share a region in French Guiana. So they're finding both species in French Guiana, but they haven't found any evidence that they're interbreeding. So they are so different that when they come across one another, they don't want to breed with it. So crazy. So crazy. The northern anaconda is in Suriname, and we will be really looking hard to find them. I had one last time I was there. I bought one from a middleman. The snake was going to be exported, and I bought it and released it. That was before I knew that it was before we had the new species. But that would have been the new species of anaconda. It's not that they were just found. It's just that they realized that all these anacondas from here are totally different. So I was very excited when I read it. It made a snake nerd like me very excited. So where are we at on this? This might be a long live stream, you guys. I warn of that every time, but really, this might be a long live stream. So here we go. Jackie Twig asks, struggling with my belly heat. My UTH do not like to stay attached. I would love advice on how to correct this, which we just talked about. I am upgrading my big boy to a PVC 4x2x2, and I want to do it right. Okay, so I'm going to tell you how to do it right. Don't worry about your under tank heater. That's not you don't have a tank anymore. Now that it's a PVC cage, and heat mats do not do well heating through PVC. So normally, if you had your snake in a fish tank, you would have your heat mat under the fish tank. You had that problem with it sagging. Just put corrugated signboard to fix that. But on a PVC cage, it's not going to work. It does not do well unless the PVC is super thin And in that case, then you probably have a structural problem with your cage. So just heat from the top. Get a. You can see the heat panel on this cage right here. Get a heat panel or a deep heat projector or a CHE or something, and do it from the sky instead of from the bottom. That's the way to do that. Okay, Chelsea asks, when you do a deep clean of an enclosure, when you do a deep clean of an enclosure that'll take a while, do you provide your snake with another heat source in the temporary enclosure, like hot water bottle, or will they be fine for an hour or two? Yeah, this is something that a lot of people think that snakes always need heat. And especially non-snake keepers always think, oh man, it's hot outside, the snakes are going to be out, and they're not. They're trying to get away from the heat, right? But a lot of keepers worry when their snake doesn't have access to heat. But keep in mind that most of the time your snake is not looking for that heat. If they are, then your whole cage is too cold. But you should bump your temps up a little bit. Your snake needs heat to digest. So my snakes come out in free roam. I don't have heat pads. You know, my room is pretty warm. I keep my room in the mid to high 70s, so that's pretty warm. But it's not heat mat warm. It's not. There's no 90-degree hot spot, and I have wood floors that are cooler than the ambient temp. Girls during breeding season like to come out and sit on that cool floor, and they'll sit there all day. You know, on the or for a number of hours. So that's totally fine for them to be without heat. If they are in the middle of digestion, they should have some heat, but still they're going to be fine for a couple hours, you know, without the heat, because their digestive process will stop, at least whatever's happening with the heat will stop during that time, and then it'll start up again when you give it some heat. You don't want them away from heat long enough to where that rodent that's in their belly starts to decompose. I mean, starts to rot in their belly. That would be like a day without heat. And in that case, they would probably regurgitate it, you know. So that's that. Done with that one. We're on the next page, you guys. We are clipping right along. Did I miss a super chat? I've got a new phone, and I haven't changed the sounds on the phone yet. And my text notification is very annoying to me. I got to figure out how to change it. Oh, this is Amy just saying that I need a co-host friend. Yeah, I do. I don't have any snakes on me. Who should we get? Oh, you know what? Let's bring Pip out right now, because here's what we're going to do. Since we're on page 2, this is a great time to take a little break and show off Miss Pip. I get her out with a hook because it's much easier than sticking my giant fingers down here and like pinching her to get her out. She is not an easy snake to just grab because she's so tiny. So we use a little hook and then put her on my hand from there. Now, can we get the camera? Oh, look at that. The camera almost focused on her. That's what it did. Hey, lady, can I just put you on my hand here? This is so awkward what we're doing. There we go. Behold, the pygmy python. She is just a lovely, lovely lady. See if we can get, I want to get out of the way so the camera focuses. Oh, come on. This is ridiculous. Hang on. She's so cute. All right, let's put this little girl in her playpen. Those of you who have seen my video on Pip know that she has a playpen, which is actually a display case to display trophies or whatever. There we go. Let's get her in there. Hang on a second. to come around. This might take a moment. She has decided to wrap around my thumb. Hang on. I'm just gonna speed this process up a little bit. So this is just a glass box. It would not be a good cage for her. It's just a glass box. It's not airtight. And she can cruise around in it. Gives her some good enrichment. She'll outgrow it eventually. She's going to be, she'll be close to 2 feet long when she's an adult, but this little display case will work great for her for a while. And I plan to get a male at some point too, so whenever I get that male, the display case will work great for that snake also. Let's see. How do I? Oh. There we go. That's what I was trying to do. So that plant is new for her that she's crawling on. She's never seen that plant before. I've kept the piece of wood in there so that she recognizes it. You know, I don't want to change it up completely every time because that makes them a little bit nervous, I think. I want to keep something recognizable. But the plant is brand new. It's a fake plant. So what I was going to get, I wanted to get a dome, one of those rounded display cases, because I thought the shape was cool. But then I saw this on Amazon, and it's got a light in it, and I got it because it was lighted. I think it's so much better to see her. So that's that. Tina, I would not hold your snake when in shed, just because they don't really want to be messed with. They kind of want to be left alone. They'll hide, and you just won't see them for a week or so. Okay, so as we watch Pip do her thing, what she often does, can't see her now, but she'll come back around. What she often does is climbs all the way to the top of that piece of wood. She likes being high up. Okay. And then I'll get another snake shortly to have with me. We'll watch Pip for a minute and see what she does. Here we go. Dustin asks, what are some good ways to maintain humidity for ball pythons in a drier climate? I've been misting and keeping the cocoa fiber hydrated, but humidity still remains lower than what I'd like. What are your thoughts on misting systems and or humidifiers? Thanks. Do not use a misting system or a humidifier because they breed bacteria. They can make your snake sick. You know, I live in a drier climate. I'm in not the high desert, but I'm in Los Angeles, which is desert, and I use cocoa husk, and I'm not spraying off the cocoa husk because that just evaporates right away. I mix the water in, and that keeps the humidity up. So if you're mixing water in and you've got cocoa husk that you can tell is wet down, like it's moist, not sopping wet, but it's moist, and you still don't have good humidity, it might be your humidity reading. It might be that you've placed your first of all, it might be that you're using a dial gauge humidity reader. And those don't work. So you want a digital one, thermometer, hygrometer. It's like from Govee or SwitchBot or something like that. There's other companies that make them, but those are the two that I use. And just put it on the ground. where the snake is going to be. That gives you a good measurement of the humidity where your snake is. If you have it high up on the cage, on the wall of the cage, it doesn't give you a good humidity reading. So, I mean, it tells you what it is halfway up the cage, but it doesn't tell you what it's at where the snake sits. So, check your readings. Check that you're reading it properly, and don't mist. Just mix water in. That's the way to do it. Misting just makes it evaporate immediately. Okay, Chris asks, when my snake sheds, I primarily leave him alone for the time, from the time I notice pink belly, other than cleaning, etc. My question is, after he sheds, he tends to be more skittish than normal, and I'm wondering if that is normal. Yeah, it is. You can handle your snake after they shed, but they do seem to be, they don't seem to like it. So I usually wait a day or two after they shed to handle them, because they are more touchy. I think maybe their skin is more sensitive or something like that. I don't know what it is, but they definitely, that is normal for them to be more skittish or more touchy right after they've shed. So give them a day or two to sort of let that new skin settle in the air. It would be like, let's say you had a brand new outfit, right? That's what it is. They have a brand new outfit. Let's say you have a brand new outfit. You walk out of Saks Fifth Avenue. Is that a fancy clothes store? It seems like it is. In my brain, I feel like that's a fancy clothes store in New York. You walk out of Saks Fifth Avenue with your brand new fancy outfit, and somebody runs up and gives you a massive hug. You're like, dude, step back. Hold on. You're wrinkling my stuff. I think that's what's going on with your snake. That's what's happening. Okay. The Naughty Irishman says, I'd like to hear about substrate during breeding and egg laying. Hang on. I'm going to get back to that because I just saw a super chat come up and I don't want to miss it. Natalia, thanks for the super chat. Hi, Bob. On Etsy, I found a great enrichment item, the Python Playground from the store Exotic Enrichment. They have a mini that I think would be great for Pip's exercise arena. Love the channel. Oh, that's fantastic. I'm going to have to check that out and see what that is. I know nothing of that. That's really cool. All right, I'm going to go back to that view, and then once Pip's doing something interesting, I will I'll shift it back. Thanks for telling me about that, the Python Playground. I'll check it out. All right, so Naughty Irishman says, I'd like to hear about substrate during breeding and egg laying. What are people doing and any pitfalls experienced? I'm currently using pads instead of cocoa as my snakes are growing with moist hide options for them. And this is not a good idea. Is this not a good idea as they start breeding? You know what? It doesn't matter. There's not really for breeding or egg laying. You know, a lot of people just do it on paper. What becomes an issue is if you're having the snake maternally incubate, then you want to have cocoa husk mixed with sphagnum moss. You want to keep it moist without making the eggs wet, but you need the cocoa husk around the snake to be moist. So that's a touchier thing. Do whatever you want. It'll work. Jay, I'm not on Morph Market. All of my snakes get sold to Patreon supporters. So what happens is when I have a snake that's when I have a clutch of eggs that are pipping, I typically make an announcement on Patreon and I get a waiting list started. And then whoever wants to buy a snake after they've crawled out of their eggs and shed and we figure out what we have, whoever wants to buy a snake can buy a snake off that list. So that's how I do it. Rocky, thanks for the super chat. No question. Just wanted to say thanks for the awesome content. My family and I have learned so much from you. We're going to an expo this weekend and might be adding another ball python to the family. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I'm glad that you guys I'm glad that the videos have been helpful for you. Thanks so much. That was a really nice thing to say. Best of luck finding, I'm sure you'll find a cool snake at the show. Okay, here we go. Where am I at? You know where I'm at is grabbing a snake. Who should I get? Hang on. Oh wait. Okay. I've got the captain in that hide. You guys may have known that, but I didn't. Hang on, be right back. I know that we have some axanthic ball python fans, and so I thought you might like to see Anya. She's getting big. And also I haven't had her out in a while, and I've kind of missed her. So we'll have Anya hang out a little bit, and then I'll take requests of snakes. How about that? Okay, so that was the substrate question. So Joy asks a couple of questions. Should frozen thawed feeders be kept in a separate freezer from human food? I do. I get mine from Lane, and theirs are bomb proof. It makes it comfortable that that they're in a separate freezer. I don't want my rats next to my frozen lasagna. Hang on, let's see. Have I missed a couple super chats? Hang on. There's one. No, I think I got. Wait, shoot, I'm going the wrong way. There we go. Niska 25. Thanks for that super chat. $50. That's so nice. Hello, and thank you for the videos. I have a bell ball python named Luna. Oh, that's great. She just ate tonight. My question is, if you have a super shy boop noodle, okay, is it better to handle them more or just to accept that they will always be shy? Thanks bunches. Yeah, so I have some videos on this, how to deal with shy snakes, but no, you don't want to handle them more. It's not that. I mean, that is what a lot of people do. They just handle them. But I don't think that that's the healthiest thing for the snake's mental well-being if they're shy. You don't want to just make them do something that they really don't want to do. But there are ways to get them used to you. Get them used to your presence. And a couple of things that you can do is, number one, just hang out near their cage when they're out. Just let them see you hanging out. You're not messing with them. You're just there, and they're seeing you. That's a helpful thing. And then, if they seem like they're doing okay after some sessions of that, then opening the cage when they're out and just showing them your hand, letting them tongue flick on your hand, like Anya's doing right now, and then not touching them. Let them do what they want to do. If they want to tongue flick on your hand and then go back in their hide, that's fine. But you don't necessarily handle them after that. You just want to show them that this is you and you're not a threat. You just close their enclosure and they can be on their own. And that your hand, just the fact that your hand is in the cage doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to be handled, because they don't want to be handled. And then when they get comfortable with that, then it becomes a situation where they trust you and they realize that you're not there to hurt them. And then when you do handle them, it's not as stressful for them anymore. And you've done that by way of gaining their trust rather than making them submit to your will, which is what you're doing if you just handle them, just pick them up all the time and handle them. You're sort of making them submit to your will. There's nothing they can do about that. And in my mind, that's not cool. So I like the other way, which sometimes takes longer, but I really like earning their trust, Okay, thanks for that super chat. Back to the You know, Anya, you can't get up there. We got Captain Farrell up there. We do not need breeding activity to start. Breeding activity, by the way, for those who don't know, would just, not that they would start breeding, it would just be that she would start peeing everywhere, scenting the area because a male is around. And we don't want that happening. All right. Where am I at? I'm just trying to figure out where I'm at right now. Oh, here we go. Still on Joy. So Joy also asks, have you ever had a snake that got backed up and you needed to massage the junk out of them? Is that even safe? I've seen a video or two of that. Yes, it's safe if you do it right. Yes, I have done it. And in fact, I did it just recently. And I didn't really massage the junk out of them, but I massaged them and the next day they pooped. So you can do it, but you just have to do it gently. Typically, you'll feel like like something hard in there that's clearly the thing that might be blocking them up or whatever, and you can kind of massage that. But snakes don't poop very often, and a lot of people think that their snake is having a problem pooping when they're really not. They go when they're ready to go. So I've got another question about this that I'm going to answer. I'm going to talk more about that because I saw it in here somewhere. Okay, so this is it, the next one, because Amy does these in order. She puts them in categorical order. Michelle asks, my snake hasn't pooped since November 11th. Now that's a long time to go. Every 6 weeks is about normal, maybe every 2 months, something like that. But now we're over 3 months. That's quite a bit. How long can they go in between? When should I start to get concerned? They've shed twice since then. So a lot of times the snake sheds when they poop. So here's what I would say. A couple of things. I'm wondering if they actually have pooped and you didn't know. So sometimes the snake will poop in their shed. You know, the shed comes off and it gets rolled up like a sock, and they've pooped in there. You just pick up the shed and throw it away. So that could have been their poop that you just missed. And if the snake has pooped once during this 3-month period of time that you last noticed it, then it's fine on schedule. You know. The other thing that I wonder is it possible that you missed it? You know, like do you have them on cocoa husks? Sometimes poop is hard to see in cocoa husks, so you may have missed it. You know, the other thing I was going to say is it's possible if you're not, you know, sometimes if people aren't feeding their snakes enough, they won't poop nearly as often. But you said your snake has shed twice, so they're growing. I just wonder if you've missed it, you know. So the other thing I'll say is, does it look like the snake needs to poop? Do they have sausage butt and they've had sausage butt for a while? If that's the case, if they truly haven't gone in 3 months and they look like they have sausage butt and maybe it's uncomfortable they look uncomfortable slithering around, you know, especially on the back end, you might take them to a vet, you know. Although before that, you know, I always say don't soak your ball pythons because it causes them stress. But in a case like that, I would give them a soak in lukewarm water, you know, because the stress of having a soak outweighs the potential problem that's happening. So what you do is you give them water that's no higher than their body, basically. Put a rock in there, something that they can kind of anchor to, so they can feel safer, and give them 20 or 30 minutes in lukewarm water. Many people do this all the time with their ball python. I don't think it's necessary, but in a case like that, I would soak them. So that's that. Okay. All right. Sarah asks, what are your go-to type items for ball python enrichment? A lot of cardboard. You know, I talk about that a lot. Lot of different cardboard stuff. I have a lot of plants. Keith and Mary Harper sent me a ton of fake plants, which doubled my arsenal. So I have a lot of that stuff. You know, I've got pieces of cork bark, little pieces of wood. I just change up things in their cages sometimes. But especially for the smaller snakes, it's cool to give them an extra hide. And a lot of times they'll use it, if it's new, they'll, I just throw it in the middle of their cage and they'll curl up in it a bit. And it's usually just a box. So when it gets thrown away, either whenever I clean out their cage fully or as soon as they pee in it or poop in it, then I throw it away. And then, of course, whiskey sleeves for the bigger snakes. That's basically a box for them. That works really well. All right, next question from Joy is, have you ever had a snake that got backed up and you... Oh, no, we got that one. We did that one. Oh, here we go. Next question from Sarah. This is it. All right. I see why I got confused. Do you sanitize items before your snakes have contact with them? Yes, I do when they're going from one snake to another. A lot of times, like if I'm throwing a box in there, if I get a box from Amazon, or I unbox a drone. I got a new drone the other day. So cool. I just tested it today. That drone box will just go in a cage. I'm not sanitizing it. It's not dirty. It's fine. Snakes are pretty resilient, and there's no reason to think that box would have picked up some snake pathogen or something like that. But I do sanitize, like if I'm taking a ball, one of those like holy roller balls, I'm pulling it out of somebody's cage, I'm going to clean it and sanitize it. And the reason is not because I think that other snake might be sick and I'm putting it in some other cage. It's not that. It's that I want to get all the snake smell off of it so it's back to neutral. Because I just don't, you never know if it's going to bother a snake that there's snake smell being introduced into their cage. I think from male to male with certain snakes, it would be a problem to have that scent. But I just want it completely neutral before I introduce something else. Okay. Oh no, Joy, not drunk. This is the first one. Not drunk, just a little scatterbrained. So I act like this when I'm sober. Okay. Mr. and Mrs. BB also have two questions. What are those fancy scissor action tongs that you use? They look way better than the giant tweezers we currently use. Yeah, I hate tweezers. I have some giant tweezers and they're terrible for hanging on to rats. Those are forceps. Just look up forceps. They're like scissors, but it's what they use. Surgical forceps. It's what a surgeon would use to hold something. And they are so much better than tweezers. The next question: we're in the UK and desperate for some of your merch. Do you ship outside of the US? Yes. If you go to my spread shop, which is right below all my videos, there's a merch shelf, and it's spread shop, and that's made to order stuff. There's all kinds of things: t-shirts and cups and hats and whatever else is on there, all kinds of cool Green Room Python stuff. And they have a warehouse in the UK. So it'll get to your door pretty quick. And then if you become a member of the Horde of Keepers and you're in one of the tiers that either gets a t-shirt or sticker packs or both, I do ship to the UK. It is expensive for me to do so, but I do that. So yeah. Do either one of those things, but join the Horde if you're not. Oh no, you are already a member. Obviously, I'm reading these from Horde of Keepers members. And Mr. and Mrs. BB, I don't remember what level you're on, but if you're on a level that gets either a sticker pack or a t-shirt, you'll get it. It's in the second month of membership that you get those. Okay. The Harpers, who we were just talking about, Ambassador Noodle and friends have been invited to visit a local scout troop, and Mary and I have been asked to come along to give them a talk about snakes. So not just the snakes going by themselves; they've asked the humans to come along with them. That's cool. What are some key points that you think we should cover? This is fantastic. I'm really excited that you're doing this. And when you initially asked this question, I asked what the ages of the kids are. And so as it turns out, they are 10 to 14. So for 10 to 14-year-olds, I'm going to give them all kinds of interesting snake facts. So I want to get them excited about snakes. And I also, this is an age where they're old enough to have developed a fear of snakes, especially if their parents are afraid of snakes. You know, I find that younger kids haven't necessarily developed a fear yet, so I don't have to do anything about that. But for 10 to 14 years old, I would start talking about myths and let the kids tell you what they've heard about snakes. Let them tell you all the myths, and you can bust all those myths and give them some hey, why are you being all crazy all of a sudden? Give them some interesting snake facts. Get them excited about snakes. They're going to have so many questions. It's great. It'll be so easy. You don't even need to have pre-prepared stuff. You just pull a snake out of a box and go, any questions? And then you're off and running for like 3 hours. It's great. I went and spoke with, I went to my nephew, Zachariah, who many of you have seen in a video. I visited his school to give a talk about snakes. And they were like, just like 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes. And I was like, oh, really? Just 10 minutes? Okay. All right, let me get to these super chats because I think I have. This is probably Amy telling me I have super chats. And I see one that I just missed. Hang on. Hang on a second. I'm going to put this girl back because I don't want her free roaming right now. I've got so much stuff out that this is not a good time for snakes to be free roaming. At least snakes that are on the ground. Amy just reminded me that we should have a look in on Pip. This is why Amy's such a good producer. All right. Let's look at whatever super chat. Okay. So there's one and there's another one. Okay, so that's two super chats that I've missed. Any others? I think, nope, just those two. Okay. Dustin. Wait, there we go. Dustin, thanks for the super chat. Question, where do you get your cool hats? I really like them. Oh, thanks. And thanks for the advice. Really enjoy the channel and Discord. Oh, that's great. I'm glad you're enjoying Discord. That's such a cool community, the folks over on Discord. I mean, it's the Patreon community. It's the Horde of Keepers plus anybody else that's just joined Discord. And they're just lovely people. Such a nice, helpful reptile community over on the Green Room Pythons Discord. All right, as far as the hats, they come from different things. This particular hat I bought in a cool little shop in Idlewild, California. That is a little mountain town on the top of a mountain above Palm Springs. But, you know, Palm Springs is desert hot. This is a forested, super forested mountain. It's absolutely beautiful. And I perform at usually a couple different festivals there. I'm usually there a couple times a year. And they've got cool shops, and there's one cool shop that had cool hats. So I bought this hat because to me it's ridiculous. It's a very silly hat, but it's actually cool. It's just a lot, you know, like the hat band is a lot, the shape is a lot, and I thought, hey, I like ridiculous hats. So and then I just go into hat shops. I buy stuff in hat shops sometimes, and some hats I've ordered off Amazon, which is a big roll of the dice because you never know how a hat's going to fit, and you never know if you're going to like it. So I prefer to buy them in person if possible. There's Pip. She's not doing her wood climb today, which is kind of weird. I haven't had her in there it's been a while since she's been in there, but she's probably gone a week. Having not been in there, and so she's on the glass a little bit more than she normally is. She's usually focused on the wood, but we'll see what happens. Rocky, thanks for this super chat. My daughter Sophie wants to know what made you want to start a YouTube channel. I had wanted to start one I had started YouTube channels before and just didn't stick with them. And I realized that at the time that I started this, I had time to start a channel and really focus on it, because a lot of my normal stuff that I do canceled because of a little thing we like to call COVID. So I had time and decided that I would start one and then stick with it and just see how it did. So that was that. I think my advice for anyone who wants to start a YouTube channel, even if you're a kid, I mean, if you're a kid, get your parents' permission, but just do it. Just put yourself on camera and do what you want to do. Talk about what you're interested in, and just do it. Amanda, thanks for this super chat. Oh my gosh, it's so nice. I'm super excited about your trip. Buy a snake to rescue for me. I hope it's an amazing trip. I will, Amanda. I will take that. You know what, Amanda, that $50 will buy a pile of snakes to rescue. And I will take that and bring those snakes back into the jungle. These are snakes, by the way, for those who don't know. These are snakes that we're gonna end up in a village. I was gonna say a little village, but it's not. There's like 3,000 people. We're gonna end up in a village that's pretty deep in the jungle called Apura. And in Apura, we stay in the guest home of a guy who is a middleman for the exporters. Basically, he buys all the snakes from any trapper, hunter, whatever. He buys these snakes when they're caught in the wild, and he hangs on to them until an exporter shows up, and then he sells all those snakes to the exporter. And so when I get there, I'm just gonna buy whatever snakes he has, and I'll take them back into the jungle and re-release them. So that's what we did last time. We're going to do it again. And we're excited. It's going to be fun. It's going to be very exciting. Okay. Back to the Q&A. Back to the Q&A. You guys keep an eye on Pip there. We'll see if she turns around and shows more interest in the wood. Seatroke says, I've been wanting to get a ball python for years, and now that my husband has left me, I'm finally able to. Either I'm sorry or congratulations, and I bet it might be congratulations. Oftentimes that's usually a better situation, but I don't know how to react to that portion of your thing. You did say that with a laugh emoji, though, so I think we're okay. It just got real serious. It got real serious in that question. I've been researching for over a year, but have never owned one. What steps should I take prior to getting one, and once I have gotten it? Seatroke, that's a big question. That could make for a 3-hour live stream in itself. I would say, I mean, you're doing the right thing. You are part of the Patreon, which means that you've been watching videos. I would assume you've been watching my videos if you're on Patreon. Otherwise, I don't know how you ended up there. But that's the thing to do. You're going to find out all the stuff that you need to do prior to and once the snake is there by doing research. And that doesn't necessarily mean videos. You know, maybe a lot of people do their research by knowing someone who keeps snakes and getting their advice, or going to reptile shows and talking to different people. There's all kinds of ways to research, but it's very easy from home to just click on a YouTube channel and find a few trusted YouTube creators that do videos and just watch the heck out of them, and watch more than just me also, because I do things a certain way, and there are other people who do things differently, and most of them are valid ways of doing it. So you're going to find out different ways to accomplish keeping a snake healthy and happy. And you'll figure out what way works best for you. All right. I don't know where Pip went off to. Can you guys see her in the... I was gonna grab her and pull her out, but now she might be on the wood. Oh, she is. She's on the back. Okay, we'll wait. I think she might be climbing that wood now. Okay, so let's get another snake out. Who should we get? Anybody have a recommendation as I pour more Lagavulin? I'll wait for the suggestions to come in. Does anybody have a snake to suggest that we get out? Sundance Kid. Joy just said it. I see it. We'll get him. Here we go. Hi, buddy. Look at you. Look at you just starting to go into shed. Look at you with your pink belly. Oh my goodness. Do you mind hanging out for a minute? He's got a little bit of a pink belly. The Sundance Kid, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go back to check in on Pip once she makes her way around. I love this guy. He's so cool. This is Lucy's favorite snake. Whenever she comes over to take care of the snakes, she goes to him first and puts him around her neck, and then she takes care of all the snakes with the Sundance Kid around her neck, or at least maybe half the time. He's super cool with being held. I mean, everybody's cool with being held. Everybody in the green room here is cool with being held, but there are some that are just that, you know, he's never going to try to get away. He's just, you know, just hanging out in my arms right now. He's cool with that. He's very chill. So one time Lucy had him around her neck and she was playing ukulele, and she's a very good ukulele player because I taught her how to do it. Actually, she knew how to play. I think when she started taking lessons from me, she was 11, and she already knew how to play a bit. But she's very good. And he crawled down off her neck and onto the ukulele as she was playing, because I think he liked the vibration of it, you know. But he just sat on the body of the ukulele, curled up as she played, which was pretty crazy. Oops. There we go. Hog Stricters, does Maya the Blackhead do well around the neck? You know, she does well over my shoulders. She's a very long snake, so I loop her over a shoulder, and then I hang on to her here. I don't usually just put her around my neck because she's a little squirrely for one thing, but she doesn't really do it often, but she's a snake that could all of a sudden get confused and strike, and I don't want her striking my face. So it's never happened before, but she definitely could do that. Whereas I would say that, like with the Sundance Kid, he can tongue flick on my eyelashes and he would never strike, you know. But Maya's a little bit unpredictable. Yep. Amy answering somebody else, but for those of you interested, Sundance Kid is Cinnamon, Het Sunset, Het Clown. That is true. I like him a lot. Okay. Back to it. One-handed. I don't need two hands to hold a clipboard. I can do it with one hand, you guys. That's how tricky I am with a clipboard. You know what? This guy is definitely too heavy to be on my hat. How about a shoulder? How about that, pal? Or arms or something? Okay, Pip is in the same spot. Oh, we're done with that page. Just hadn't turned my page yet. Here we go. Katie Russell says, I've inherited my dad's 24-year-old ball python Smaug, and I'm preparing to bring him home in April when it's warmer. Smaug has always been on aspen in a 20-gallon tank with only half a log as a hide, and very rarely handled outside feeding in the last 10 years since my dad's condition worsened. I'm getting a 4x2x2 and would love to go bioactive in the future like I have for my geckos. How can I minimize the stress of the move and drastic environment change? You know what? I don't think he's going to mind a drastic environment change. You know, I mean, every snake is different, but I find that when a snake goes from pretty bad conditions to really good conditions, they just start being a snake. You know, he's not going to be socialized, it sounds like, but he'll just use one of those hides and he'll be like, oh my gosh, I have a hide. Wow, this is luxurious. So I think bioactive is fine. You know, the problem with bioactive is that the plants don't last very long, oftentimes, depending on how active the snake is. So you might try bioactive. It just may not work great. But you know, cocoa husk, whatever. But I think that snake is going to be very happy with the space and with the hide, you know, or the hides. Okay, Toya says, I'm in the market for a new snake, and the morph I've been wanting is available at our local store, but it's quicker than I expected, and I don't have an enclosure ready. The store clerk suggested I keep them in the same enclosure, meaning with your other snake that you have. I mean, okay, I think I heard you. This isn't a situation. She said same sex causes issues, but not a young female and male in the same enclosure. So this is a great example of how when you talk to an employee at a pet store, they're just a person that's hired by the pet store to work there, and they may not know what they're talking about. And in this case, they don't know what they're talking about. This is a pet store employee who has seen snakes for sale be housed in the same cage together, and they're like, "Oh, it should be fine." But it's not that it's not ideal; it's that it's really bad. So don't cohab your snakes, for sure. It causes them stress. You're not going to see them fighting, and this is why a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's fine. They don't fight." But snakes don't fight anyway. But they do compete for resources, and it stresses them out. And having that constant stress causes a lot of problems, and could cause one to kill the other eventually, because that does happen. So don't do that. Okay, great question. Glad you asked it. Matthew Tracy says, does a Brazilian rainbow boa require different care than, say, Handsome Dan? That's most likely my next snake purchase. Yes, they do. They absolutely do. I have a video coming out in a couple of weeks, if I can get it finished before I go to the jungle, that talks about Brazilian rainbow boas. But they require, if you get a baby, I mean, adults require high humidity too, but the babies, if your humidity dips, they will not survive that little humidity mistake. So they're super touchy, and you just need to make sure that you can keep your enclosure at like 95% humidity at all times, and that will keep the babies alive. For the adults, they'll stand for some dips here and there. It's not going to kill them right away, but still pretty. You got to be on it with their humidity. Super cool snakes though. I love rainbow boas. We released one of those from captivity that had been captive the week before. We released one of those. That was a cool release too, because I was trying to put her by the banks of this sort of swampy area. I had just released an anaconda down a little ways, and I wanted to put the rainbow boa kind of in the same general area. And she found a great hole in the trunk of a tree right by the water, and slithered right into that hole. It was really cool. It's on the video. Hey, what's going on? What's going on there? You can come up on this hat, pull my hat down. So he was just right up in my face, and I heard him breathing twice. He took 2 breaths, and this scares people a lot. They're like, "Oh my gosh, I just heard my snake breathing. I think he might have a respiratory infection." And snakes sometimes, especially if they're in a weird position like he was, they'll huff. And so that breathing, the 2 breaths of breathing, which might have even picked up on the microphone, was him huffing as he's putting pressure on his lungs a little bit. I want to watch the video to see if he was on my hand on his lungs, but that was just huffing. And sometimes snakes do that, especially bigger ones, especially the big mamas that are larger than him, will do it quite a bit, if they're crawling over something. Okay. Silvermander has some questions. During our most recent feeding, my ball python hung his head, then part of his body over his climbing ropes, using them as a tool to help him push his snack down. Yeah, that's what they do. To us, it looked like tool use than we would ever expect from a snake. Thoughts? Yeah, that's what snakes do. They use something to help them push that. It's a muscle thing. They can use their muscles and get that meal down, but it's really helpful if they can crawl over something to wedge it down. And almost all snakes will do that. And it's kind of like, I don't consider it tool use per se, but I guess sort of. It would be the same as them using a rock to help them get their shed off. They're crawling along a rock or a branch or something to get the shed off. So I guess it's sort of tool use, rudimentary tool use. But yeah, you'll see that a lot. You'll see that a lot with snakes. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the Sundance Kid back, and then I'm gonna grab Pip because she's back on the ground again. Okay. One moment. Talk amongst yourselves. You all know how to do that. Here's a little hook rider. Oh, I got super chats. I will get to those. Give me just a minute. Thanks for the super chats, you guys. All right. Well, I predicted that Pip would be exciting and would crawl all around that wood and up to the top. And she didn't. But that's all right. That's the way it goes sometimes. All right. So I'm putting her back so she can get back to that really cool, super tiny black box hide. She ate her second Reptilink a few days ago. So now, which I love, because she's getting the micro day-old pinkies. There's Lane Labs sells day-old pinkies, but then they sell micro day-old pinkies, which I'm guessing is just they find the smallest ones and put them all in a package, and they call them micro. So she eats those, and now she's getting micro Reptilinks that are made of iguana meat, which is great for her because in the wild, at this size, she would be eating baby geckos, little tiny lizards. That would probably be most of her diet, unless she happened to find some little baby newborn rodents or something. All right, let me see. Let me get to where I Okay. All right. So I have 3 super chats to get to. Here we go. Let me just find them again. All right. Maidenless asks, thanks for the super chat. Maidenless Minkfoot, that's a great name. Will we get a Colin Robinson this Amazon trip? Well, that could mean a number of things. Colin Robinson being one of my favorite characters on What We Do in the Shadows. I love that actor. He's so funny. I forget his name. He was a warehouse worker in The Office as well, and was super funny. But so Amy has a snake named Colin Robinson, and that's a ball python, so we won't be getting that. But I would imagine that we'll get some shy snakes. I wouldn't consider Colin Robinson shy, but he is boring. I don't think we'll have, no, because Colin Robinson is incredibly boring. That's his thing, is that, and I don't think we're going to find any snakes that are incredibly boring. So in those respects, I would say no. Tevi, thanks for the super chat. Just making the announcement that some of the Horde of Keepers have Brazilian rainbow boas. Stop by and ask away. That's a good point. Jump in, ask away either on Patreon, because there is a place where you can type messages and chat with each other on Patreon, or you can ask in the Discord, either in the Patreon only channels to just ask Patreon, or you can just ask the whole group and see who else has Brazilian rainbow boas. We've got a lot of people on Discord that have all kinds of different reptiles. So people are getting questions answered all the time with all kinds of stuff. Elizabeth, thanks for the super chat. Hello, what are your thoughts on feeding on substrate? Thank you, and hit the like, friends. Oh yeah, thanks for reminding them to do that. Hitting the like is helpful for pushing the channel out to other people. That's a great question, by the way. Hang on, I got stuff in the way. Okay, what are your thoughts on feeding on substrate? My thoughts are this. This is a great question, and it comes up a lot. People, there are people that will move their ball python to feed because they heard that or they're just worried that their snake will swallow some substrate. I promise you, though, that in the wild, snakes are swallowing substrate all the time. And this is okay because their digestive juices, if we want to call them juices, I think that's the scientific word for it. The acids and stuff that's in their belly is designed to break down fur and feathers and organs and bone. It breaks down the bone. So they definitely can break down a bit of cocoa husk. You don't want to, like with babies, with a baby ball python or a smaller snake, what I often do is I'll feed them, and once they wrap and coil, I'll turn a hide upside down and put them in their upturned hide. And that will prevent them from maybe taking a chunk that's way too big. Sometimes they'll drop the rat and then the rat gets stuck on a chunk. And if it's too big for them, then that could be problematic, although I've never had the problem happen. So definitely feed the snake on the substrate. It's fine. But if you want to, put them in an upturned hide once they have wrapped. They're pretty, snakes are, if they strike and coil, their entire focus is on that meal. And at that point, you can pick up that coiled ball and put it wherever you want, and they're going to be just fine. If they are currently eating it, or if it's a snake who doesn't really strike and wrap, they just kind of start eating it, you got to leave them alone. But if they're in that strike coil phase for the next 5 minutes, right, because it takes that at least that long usually before they kind of uncoil and release and start eating it, you can put them wherever you want. So yeah, thanks for that super chat. Okay, let's see where we're at. I think we're still on Silvermander's questions. that was one from Silver. Now we have there's B has several questions. Here we go. Are there any specific snakes you prefer not to handle simply to keep them in their comfort zone? I find myself hesitant to take out my more nervous snakes because I just want them to be comfortable. Yeah, I kind of feel like that too. You know, it's tough. It's tough when you have one snake to be like, I just leave them alone. You know, I feel like I'm lucky because I have enough. If I want to hold a snake, there's going to be a snake available for me to play with. I can always play with a snake because I have 30 of them, you know, slightly less than 30, but pretty close. So it's tough, but I do, you know, like Handsome Dan, for instance, we do handling sessions, but I know that he would prefer to be off on his own, and I know where he wants to be, and I know where to put him so that he's happy, and I would just prefer him to be happy. So I put him up on his spot, and when I say happy, I mean, I can tell when he's content there because he finds his little hide that he wants to be in. This is on top of a pretty tall rack that I have, is kind of his territory. On top of there, it's kind of this cluttered area that he likes to crawl around in, and there's a couple of hides in there. And so he's used to it. He's comfortable there, and he's sometimes uncomfortable in my hands. So I just like to let him do what he wants to do. And that's how I am with a lot of the snakes. There are many snakes that I know don't like to be handled very often. I mean, I don't think that any snake likes to be handled. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who are like, no, my snake loves it, whatever. They tolerate it. There's a lot of snakes that tolerate being handled. And all of my snakes will tolerate it. But some tolerate it no problem. Like the Sundance Kid who I just had. No problem at all. That doesn't mean he craves it. He's not looking to be held, you know. But he's Alvaro, thanks for the super chat. How do you find a true dwarf boa breeder? Is it worth the risk if I can't afford the space to house an 8 to 10 foot long snake? So what you want, that's a good question, and what you want is a locality boa. So you want to find a breeder who's breeding Hog Island boas, Sonoran. What's the word? Tomahawk. Somebody put it in the chat. What am I thinking of? Starts with a T. Tomahawk. I'm wrong. It starts with a T. Somebody put it in the chat. What's the locality of boa? It's an island locality. Starts with a T, and it's like Tamahara. That might be it. Tarahumara. Abe's got it. Tarahumara. I was missing that little H in the middle of the word. Was tripping me up. Warrior Brood came in with it too. Thanks, you guys. So anyway, there are some localities where they will be smaller, and then you've got Central American. So Handsome Dan is Central American, and that just means that he's got a morph that's Central American. He's probably going to be smaller, but it's not like if I had a Hog Island boa, like a pure Hog Island boa. I kind of don't know with Handsome Dan, but I know at his age, with his size, he's definitely a smaller boa. You know. Okay. Here we go. Man, that Lagavulin is good. You guys, if you enjoy Scotch, or if you don't enjoy Scotch and you've never had Islay Scotch, do yourself a favor. Pick yourself up a bottle of Lagavulin. No, don't pick yourself up a bottle. Go to a pub that sells fine Scotch and order a Lagavulin and just see what you think. A lot of times people tell me that they don't like Scotch because they tried Glenlivet or something and they didn't like it. Glenlivet's a fine Scotch, by the way, but some people don't like it. And I will turn them on to Islay Scotches, which is super strong, peaty, tastes like leather, tastes like fire, tastes like sea brine, and they'll try it and they'll go, wow, I love that stuff. But then many people try it and they hate it. It's the worst thing they've ever had. It's either love it or hate it. But I always think people should try it. Okay. Where are we at? Here we go. We're on B's questions. Realistically, how much stress does handling put on them, and do the pros outweigh the cons, assuming proper handling etiquette? Yeah, it depends on the snake. I mean, some snakes, if you can understand snake behavior and you can tell when your snake is stressed or when they're trying to get away, they're super tense, especially with a ball python. If you're holding them and they get real tense, it's not because they think they're going to fall. It's because their body is tense because they're like, I don't know if I like this. And every snake is different. So with some snakes, it puts a lot of stress on them if they're not socialized well. So use those socialization techniques that I talked about earlier in this live stream, and that'll help them to not be as stressed if they're giving you those signs. And by the way, the pros do not outweigh the cons in just handling a snake that is obviously stressed by being handled, because the only pro is that you get to handle your snake. There's no pro for the snake, because there are ways to socialize them. You know, a lot of people say the pro is that you're handling them so they get used to being handled, but there's ways to socialize them without handling, which we talked about earlier in the live stream. So I just don't think that I don't think it's the best way to socialize a snake by forcing them to be handled, you know. Okay, here we go. I've heard you discuss olive pythons before, and they are my absolute favorite. Okay. So such cool pythons. Have you done much research on Liasis genus? I would love to hear your thoughts on them. You know, I've never had any Liasis. That is olive pythons, maclots. I think water pythons are. I want to say white-lipped, but I don't think that's it. I don't think they're a Liasis. But so really cool snakes. I've actually considered getting a maclots python before. I'm not getting one anytime soon though. Olive pythons are big. They get pretty big. They're they're like 10-foot snakes, and sometimes bigger. 13 feet potentially. And they're also a serious snake. They're not. This is a snake that if you have an olive python, you're a serious snake keeper. You're not. This isn't booping snoots of snakes sort of thing. This is somebody that knows that they're handling a snake that at any moment could turn around and light them up, and knows how to handle that from a big snake. We're talking about a snake that you raised from a baby, but they're maybe an F2 or an F3, meaning they're only two or three generations from the wild. And this is a pretty unpredictable animal, and really you can get to where you predict their behavior, but you've got to watch them all the time because they could come around and snag you either with a defensive bite or a food bite or whatever. So they're a serious snake, and I would think super fun. I would love to have one. I don't have the room though. And yeah, I like them. I think an olive python is cool. Although, as far as big Australian pythons, if I had my choice, I might get a scrub python first. Amy Bentley is just texting me answers to questions that I have in the thing. She says, Liasis is maclots, olive pythons, and water pythons, which is what I said, and not white-lipped pythons. And Mark Proksch, how do you pronounce it? Proksch? Mark Proksch is the actor who plays Colin Robinson. He's so funny. Thanks for the answers, Amy. Amy coming in with the Google, searching stuff on Google for me. Or maybe you knew it. I shouldn't say that. Maybe you had that in your brain. All right. So number 4 from B. Also, what is it going to take to get you to come to a boring New England expo? Man, I would come to a New England expo if I could plan a trip to Nerd. I would love to see Kevin's facility. I'd come to a New England expo if I was going to see Nerd. Let's say I just come into an extra $12,000, and I decide, let me buy a Boland's python. So I'll go to Nerd and pick it out myself. Because if I have 12 grand, I clearly have the money to fly to New England to pick it out myself, right? And then I would make that coincide with a expo in New England. That's how it's done. I don't think I'm ever going to have an extra $12,000, but you never know, you guys. Okay, Stacy asks, what's good to have on hand for a snake first aid kit before you have any problems? Q-tips for one thing, and what I use Q-tips for is opening a snake's mouth. That is, I have found the easiest way to get a snake's mouth open is just to take the side of a Q-tip and push it into the front of their mouth, and you can use that to open their mouth. It's easier than anything that they sell that's specifically for opening an animal's mouth. So those are good. Silver Silvazidine cream, I can't even remember why I got it. There was some snake that had something, they had an injury, rubbed their head or something a long time ago. And it was prescription, so it was prescribed, and it was pretty expensive, but I still have the tube, and that comes in handy with any little thing that they have. So that would be good. A probe kit. I use a probe kit to not only probe ball pythons, but I'll also use that to open their mouth too sometimes. Those are little helpful devices. And Providone iodine, that like starts with a B. Also, the somebody put it in the chat. What am I thinking of? It's like Providone iodine, but it starts with a B. Okay. So those are things. There's other stuff. I'm trying to think of what else I have just on hand. I'm sure there's other things. Betadine. Thanks, Robert. Betadine is what I was thinking. It's an easy one. There's probably other stuff. I have some stuff. I have all those things, but I rarely use them. I should go through just to remind myself what I've got, because I rarely have need to use it. But you never know when your snake is going to have some sort of little abrasion. And so I do use the Silver Silvazidine cream probably more than anything else, because if I see a little nick on a snake, they've done something to themselves or whatever, I just put that on and it clears it right up. It's really good stuff. All right, Taylor asks, do you have any tips on giving shots to a snake? So we're in the same subject here. Giving shots to a snake that won't sit still. I recently had to give antibiotics to my 2,500 gram female ball python for an RI, and she would not sit still, and I worry about getting her in the wrong spot with her wiggling. Yeah, so for a snake like that, especially a big one, have somebody else holding them on both ends. You know, you're going to give the shot about 1/3 down the body of the snake. So you want them holding the upper third, and then maybe with their arm, the rest of their arm like this, right here, holding the rest of the body, and then that area where you're gonna give the shot, they're gonna hold that still, and everything else can be wiggly. Snakes don't usually respond to shots as far as, like, it's not like they go ow and move. So you know, you're gonna give it 1/3 down the body on either side of the spine, in the fat that's right there on either side of the spine, and in between a scale, so that it's, you know, you're not puncturing the scale. You probably know this. Thanks, Mom. Mom's saying betadine, and those come as swabs too. Yes, betadine swabs is a good idea. Thanks for your input, Mom. So anyway, that is the way to do it. Have someone else hold them. Yeah. What I have done, the times that I've had to give shots to snakes, is I just hold them in my lap and let them sort of calm down and relax a bit. Because I've done it without. I think one time I had Lucy hold a snake while I gave a shot, but it's always been just me here, and so I just let them calm down and relax, and then I find my spot and I just do it quickly. You know, I'm still holding them. You know, I'm still hanging on to them, but they have relaxed at that point, and then we just do it. I don't think they can really feel it because they don't really react. Okay, are we on the last page? You guys were on the last page. Last page. And we're almost 2 hours into this. We're not doing too bad. And we've got 184 viewers. How many likes do we have? I'm not on the YouTube page, so I don't know. But are people hitting the like button? That'd be cool if they were. Oh, Keith, great input here. F10 germicidal barrier ointment is also a good option for wound treatment. Yeah, I bet it is. I didn't even know that they made that, but that's probably what you would use, if you don't have silver sulfasidine cream. Like I said, I had it because it was prescribed. There's probably other places where you can just buy it off the shelf, but I can't here for some reason. But yeah, F10 makes good stuff. So, also F10 and chlorhexidine can be used to clean wounds. Those are veterinary grade antibiotics, but it's got to be diluted down further than what you're using to clean. So if you're whatever your solution is of chlorhexidine, whatever your solution is of F10 for cleaning, is way stronger than what you need for cleaning a wound. So don't just spray F10 on them or whatever. All right. So we're at 138 or 146 likes. Okay, that's not as many as 182, but I guess for the people that are watching right now, if they haven't hit the like button and they want to, I guess they will. I appreciate you guys who have. I also appreciate those who haven't, because at least you're watching the video, and that's nice. The people are requesting Bearsley. Nay, they are demanding to see Bearsley. Okay, we can bring out Bear. Tell you what, I'll give you hang on a second. Hi, buddy. Talk amongst yourselves. Be right there. Look at these two. I got Bear and his son Kodiak. Look at this. Look at these two handsome young men. Kodiak's growing. And here's Bear. Here they are side by side. They looked about the same size before, but this is side by side. Handsome young men. Yeah, Kodiak, I think Kodiak is looking bigger in the camera than he actually is. Let me just see if I can. He's, he's palm of my hand. He is, I don't know. I was going to guess at his weight, but I'll be definitely wrong. I haven't weighed him in a long time. And Bear is palm of my hand too, but he's super curled up in a ball. Let's get Bear around my neck. He'll be comfortable if he can hide in my beard. See how tense he is? This is a tense snake. And Bear is one that I don't often bring out. I usually just let him do his own thing. And I'm just trying to fix him. There we go. So he feels comfortable. And then we got little Kodiak here. Let's see. Kodiak is, how old is Kodiak? He's, what is he, 6 months old? I could be way off. I'm looking it up right now. And I bet somebody will know before I find it. Kodiak hatched out There we go. How about that? Yeah, I just got a notice that my mic was muted. I don't know when that happened, but at least I got a message saying that it was muted. You're good now, though, right? You can hear me now? Sound is back? Good, good, good. Okay, great. So what I was saying is that Kodiak is 7 months old. So I was pretty close. 7 months, and okay, we'll weigh him because I bet you guys are curious. Hang on a second. Kodiak is a good eater, and I have not fed him sparingly. He gets pretty good meals. Hold on, buddy. And he is 432 grams. 432. So he eats, hang on. $432 grams. He eats a weaned rat once a week. Let me see what these text messages are. Okay. Just Amy telling me that I was muted. Thanks for the heads up, everybody. I'm surprised that I got a notification on the program because I've been muted before and had no idea. I went on and on and on with no sound. Warrior Brood Pip is back in her cage. I put her back. Okay. But we still have Captain Farrell. Hold on. Let me just make sure we still have Captain Farrell. I assume we do. Oh yeah. He just curled up in that hide. This is where this is his spot. He knows this spot well, this hide right there. Because after he spends half an hour, 45 minutes with me in the morning when I'm doing my morning stuff, I just put him up there. He crawls around this top for a little bit and goes into that hide. All right. We're getting to the end of this thing, you guys. So Wendy asks, do you take all your snakes for annual checkups at the vet? We are unfortunately dealing with a minor respiratory infection, of course, with vet help. That's great. But I'm so glad they were familiar with me and my little dude and be able to get him in there quickly. That's a good question. I don't, because I'm pretty familiar with doing the checkup on my own. I know what the vets do when they do the checkup, and I can do that also. I can check to make sure the snake is alert. I can check their cloaca. I can check inside their mouth. And it would be super expensive to take all these snakes to the vet for a yearly checkup. But because I have a bit of knowledge like that, I can also take the snake to the vet and say, here's what I think is happening. Here's what I think is going on. And then they can start from there. And maybe I'm wrong. In fact, when I first took Kata to the vet, those of you who've been watching the channel for a while, Kata, when I first bought her, she came to me and had what I thought was a respiratory infection. All the signs were respiratory infection. So I just took her to the vet and I was really confident. I wasn't like, I think she has. I was like, I got a snake with a respiratory infection. I just need antibiotics, And she goes, well, let me check her. So she came back and was like, your snake is fine. It does not have a respiratory infection. It does have lungworms. So gross. Didn't even know that those were a thing. Had lungworms. And she said the symptoms of that present as a respiratory infection, but it's not. So she gave me medication to take care of the lungworms. And that is why I am not a vet. So when I say my snake has a respiratory infection, maybe it doesn't. Okay. Where is this second part? Oh, not a second part, just a second question. What was the last non-scientific, non-snake book you read? That would be This is a book that you wouldn't think I would read, but I take my sister's recommendations always. My sister is my favorite person, and if she sees a good show or reads a good book and recommends it to me, that means that she thinks that I will like it, and she's always right. This is a book called The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and it was so good, so creative, such a cool. Is a good book. It's more, you know, it's about this woman who has basically made a deal with the devil that she lives forever, but she once she has contact with somebody, after she leaves, they forget her. So if she walks around a corner, she's now forgotten, and she has to go through life that way. It's a good book. I enjoyed it. My sister was right. I would have never pulled it off the shelf, read the back, though, and went, oh, that's a book for me. But Shan knows. She knows what I'll like. Okay. We're into the last section, and it's a pretty short section. This is non-snake related questions. Okay. So Tara is asking, other than Scotch, what do you like to drink? I love Scotch. Of the whiskeys, Scotch is my favorite. A lot of people don't realize that that Scotch is whiskey. It is. It's whiskey made from barley and made in Scotland. And so Scotch, of the whiskey, Scotch is my favorite. My second favorite would be Irish whiskey, and then bourbon, or maybe then rye and then bourbon. So I like those. And that's usually my drink of choice, but I do enjoy mezcal, which is, I want to say a type of tequila, but it's actually the opposite. Tequila is mezcal, but when you order a mezcal, it's like tequila, but really smoky. And other than that, I don't really know anything about tequila, but I do enjoy it. I it's good. And then also Coke or Pepsi, Tara is asking. I don't drink a lot of that, but Pepsi. I've always enjoyed Pepsi more than I try not to drink a lot of soda though. Robert asks, how many hats will Future Bob have? No way of telling. I don't even know how many he has. I borrow one from Future Bob for the live stream. I say, hey, Future Bob, can I have a hat? He tosses me one. He says, don't wreck it, which is so rude, because why would he assume that I'm going to wreck it? I've never wrecked a hat before. So yeah, sorry, I can't answer that one. Lionel asks, would you rather have a jacked up truck for this zombie apocalypse or a fortified ice cream truck? No question, fortified ice cream truck. Because it's zombie apocalypse. There's not much you can do, but you can eat ice cream. I'd be a super popular guy with the non-zombie humans. Like, hey, I got ice cream. Come hang out with me. I'd end up making all the friends, and I'd probably be saved. People would want me to stay alive because I'm the guy with the ice cream truck. People would want to steal my ice cream truck, but I don't think they would. I think they'd be like, this is a good guy. I don't want to steal his ice cream truck. I just want to help him stay alive. That's the best way to do it. Okay. This is the last series of questions. These come from Chaos Keeper, and they're rapid fire. What all can you juggle? So many things, because in my shows at festivals, I often have the audience hand me things to juggle, and I have juggled many different random objects. Amy's sister, Katie, last year, you know what, Bear? Really? Future Bob is going to be so mad. I just said that I don't wreck hats. I just said that. Okay, so Katie, Amy's sister, brought to one of my shows, she brought a can of Spam and some other random things that I can't remember. They were so weird, though. And I've had people give me their prosthetic legs twice. In one season, people gave me prosthetic legs to try to juggle. Yeah. Lots of things. Do you juggle anything on fire? And if so, how do you protect your perfect manly beard from the flames? Thanks for saying that. I do juggle things on fire. That is part of my show. I'm ruining it for those who haven't seen the show that I do at festivals, but I juggle double-headed battle axes that I set on fire, and I juggle chainsaw blades that I set on fire. That's just, it's not a chainsaw. It's a blade on a stick with a chainsaw chain on it. And I set that on fire. And some other dangerous stuff. And, I just don't let the fire hit my beard. And so far, I've been successful at that. I have not burnt my beard off. Okay, look at this. Look at how flat my hat is now. Bear, come on, dude. That wasn't cool. This is the problem with snakes, you guys, is they have no respect for a hat. They don't respect your hats. It's one thing that I should warn people about when they're thinking of getting a snake. They're not going to respect your hat. That's for one thing, Here we go. Where else are we? 3 more questions left. These are rapid fire, remember. This is how rapid fire goes with me. Can we get a list of movies you've appeared in? Yes. If you type my name into IMDb, it will give you a list of movies you've never seen that I've appeared in, and maybe some TV shows that you have seen that I've appeared in. But the movies that I've done are not ones that people have watched. That nothing big. What's your favorite pizza toppings? You know what? I like anchovies. I enjoy a good anchovy, but I get meat lovers pizzas. No, you're not doing that. That wasn't nice. You did that on purpose. And last question. Do you like to cook? Yes, I do like to cook. Do I do it very often? No, but I do enjoy it. I like being creative in the kitchen. But I don't do it very often. All right. That's it for the Patreon questions. I'm gonna put these 2 snakes back so that I have a couple hands. I might get another snake out, but you guys, Horde of Keepers, thanks for those questions. Those were all great. Okay, jeez, almost tripped over everything. Say goodbye to Bear and Kodiak. Look at how handsome these 2 guys are. Father and son. Such good boys. Look how orange Kodiak is from the clown. I mean, his head stamp is because he's clown also, but super orange compared to Bear. Although he's younger too. He might brown out a bit as he gets older. But I like comparing them. Okay, hang on. So I was talking earlier about enrichment items and that I give cardboard boxes. I gave Kodiak a box last week that it's a little long box that I cut a little hole in. Man, that guy loves that box. He has not been in a hide. I mean, that box is his hide, but he's not been in one of his regular hides since I gave him that. And it's going to be a sad day when he pees in it, and I'm going to have to throw it away. Then I'll just give him another box. Lionel, thanks for your super chat. I finally made it to a live. Canary is doing good. That's great. That's a snake that he got from me. Can you point in the direction of reversed striped red tail male? Wait. Can you point me in the direction of reversed striped red tail male? No, I don't know what that is. Are we talking about a red tail boa? Is that like a morph in red tail in boas? Reversed striped? I don't know what that is. Tell me more. Thanks, Mom. The one movie that I did that I actually like and the most people enjoy is called Big Ass Spider. And it actually there's some I liked it. I was happy with it. Petro, thank you for the super chat. I'm 5'4". Would a red-tailed boa food bite wreck me? Yeah. Yep, it would. Good guess. Yeah, I mean, look, red-tailed boas are, by the way, a red-tailed boa is the boa constrictor, not the boa imperator, which is what Handsome Dan is, and which is what a lot of people have pets. If we're talking about an actual boa constrictor, they are less common as pets. They're more expensive. If somebody has bought a red tail boa from the pet store and they paid a couple $100 for it and they were calling it a red tail boa, or maybe a Colombian red tail. A lot of times they're called that. Those are not boa constrictors. Those are boa imperators, which can also get really big if they're overfed. But generally they stay smaller, and that's a manageable snake. Boa constrictors definitely get very large, and they're also extremely strong for their size. A boa, whether it's a boa imperator or a boa constrictor, whatever size they're at, if you compare that to a python of that same size, the boa will be measurably stronger. So keep that in mind. Telecaster, thanks for the super chat. Hi, Bob. Great live stream. Keep up the awesome work you're doing. Oh, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's really nice of you to say. Thanks for the super chat. Have I missed any super chats, you guys? I guess I would have been told if I did. I do have text messages right now, though. Maybe I'm going to learn that Oh, Amy's reminding me what her sister brought for me to juggle last season. It was, I can't believe I didn't remember this. It was a can of Spam and a bottle of hemorrhoid cream. She bought hemorrhoid cream at the drugstore along with the can of Spam and brought it to the festival in her purse so that she could hand it to me to juggle. It's very creative. So when somebody asks, for the rest of my life, when somebody asks, can you juggle hemorrhoid cream? I can be like, yep, definitely can. I've proved it. All right. Pietro did another super chat. Hang on. I almost missed that because I thought it was the other one. Oh, wait, I've missed two. Hold on. Sarah did one too. Hang on. Let me just make sure. Okay. I got two here. Let's tackle these one at a time. Sarah, thanks for the super chat. Watching the live stream with my own ball python this time. Thank you for all this great info. Oh, that's great. Congrats on that snake. I'm guessing that's a new snake that you got. That's great. Congrats. Very cool. Pietro, what's the biggest boa you would suggest for 5'4" me? Well, I don't know how strong 5'4" you is, because it's not really about how tall you are. It's about what you can physically handle. But what I would do, if you can, is get to a place that will allow you to handle some snakes. And, if you see if you can find some adults that you can handle, and that'll give you a sense of their strength. And, you just don't want to get yourself into a problem. If you feel like you could physically have a problem handling a larger snake and you really want a boa, get one of the island localities, the Tarahumara or the Hog Island or the Sonoran, that are going to be smaller, but still they're small, but still pretty strong, pretty freaking strong. What have I missed talking about? That's it. So is there any snakes that anybody wants to see that I haven't brought out? There's some that aren't available. Handsome Dan, I'm not going to bring him out because he's getting used to this new enclosure, but it's so interesting. I put Echo and Stella in their new enclosures, their upgraded great big enclosures, and they have been roaming all the whole time, just cruising around, checking out everything. Handsome Dan, this is sort of what he tends to do. He finds a spot that he's comfortable in, and then he just stops, and there he is. He's just in that spot. So what he chose to do is nestle down into the cocoa husk, which is what boas do in the wild. They nestle down into the leaves, and he's not really covered. I guess his tail is covered, so he didn't cover himself up, but he's just sitting there. He is not explored really at all. It's pretty crazy. Hang on. Lionel just super chatted. Okay. Lionel, talking about red tail boas. Yes, it's a morph. I don't know about that. I don't know morph. You know, I'm not a huge morph guy with ball pythons, and I certainly don't know much about them with boas. I know that there's not many morphs in red tail boas, so whatever they are, and I don't know any of them. So, it's probably cool though. Now I want to look it up. Did I miss a super chat from Hog Stricters, Amy? Where is it? Can you text me a screenshot? Because it sounds like it was her phone rebooted. She was trying to tell me something and I never got her text. All right, she's gonna send me the super chat. Sorry, Hog Stricters. I missed it. Let me see if I can. Oh, wait. Did I just find it? I did. Hog Stricters. Thanks for the super chat. Sorry that we almost missed it, but Amy's on top of it. I appreciate you, though. Great live, Bob, as always. Oh, thanks. Did you find that different sexes of ball pythons are more likely to food strike? I've heard that about hog noses, and my male hog food strikes more than my female. That's interesting. I never heard that about hog noses. It's not a thing with ball pythons, really. I haven't heard that at all with any snake, but I also am not in the hog nose world, so there's no reason that I would have heard that. Super interesting, though. I wonder why that is. Okay, so here we go. Back to these. New Smithsonian, thanks for the super chat. Any 5 foot plus non-ball python that you would suggest for kids? I mean, a kid to me is a 25-year-old. What do you mean by kids? Are we talking about little kids? There are many snakes. Burmese python is great for kids as long as the adult is right there with them. And that's a lot bigger than 5 feet. It's the thing is when you have a big snake, there's a potential that they could bite and it could be relatively significant. Probably not like, if you've got a 5 foot snake and it bites the kid, it's not going to send them to the hospital, but it's going to scare the heck out of them. They're not going to like it. So it's just one of those things that you want to make sure that it's a very well socialized snake, and that an adult is there at all times. If they're handling it. You guys, this is the series of texts that Amy sent me. She sent me a few things, and then she says, "Did you see my text? Hey, you missed one. Hog Stricters. Hey, stop ignoring me. I'm trying to help you." Just text after text. Sorry, Amy. I don't mean to ignore you. You're extremely helpful. Tara, there we go. I made it. Hi, Bob and everyone. Hey, thanks for the super chat, Tara. I just answered your question. I don't know if you were here when I did, but I did. I'm sure you'll go back and watch this, though. All right. How long are we into this thing? I told you it was going to be a long. Oh, I can't even tell. Why isn't... Oh, there it is. Geez, 2.5 hours. We're close to done. Is there any other snake that you guys want to see before we wrap it up? Or any last things? This is the last live stream before my jungle trip. And then when I get back from the jungle, the next video will be a live stream. So I'm getting Ron and Damara. Let's get Ron. Damara, I think I fed her yesterday. Hang on. It's probably okay, though. Oh, buddy. Let's do some quick hellos from these guys. Oh, look at this. Pink belly, too. I'm noticing just the beginning of sheds from these guys since I'm bringing them out to show you. We got Ron and the Sundance Kid both are going into shed. Hey, buddy, hang tight. So Ron is another one that I don't bring out a lot because he would rather just stay in his hide. Although if I get up in the middle of the night, he's often out and I'll open his tub, but he's not trying to come out. So he's just trying to do his own thing. He does pretty well, though, being handled. Like right now, he's a little bit squirrely, but usually he calms down pretty quick and he does fine. Matthew, I totally missed my question. That's okay. I'll rewatch. How is Handsome Dan? Thanks for the super chat, Matthew. Handsome Dan is great. He's getting used to his new cage, right? Oh, my mic's in the way. Right there. This is his new cage. And he's been in it for several hours now and has not moved much, which I was just talking about. So I'm guessing tomorrow he'll do a little bit more exploring. Thanks for that super chat. So Ron is doing well. Hey, will you show your eyes, pal? You don't want to. He's got these beautiful green eyes. But if we can get the camera to focus on him. Can you tell the color? I can't tell if it's coming through or not. But he's got cool eyes. All right. I'm going to put him back and we'll get Damara. Because Damara's usually better about hanging out. And actually, you guys, this is going to depend on what position she's in when I open her tub. Because she is working on babies. And if she's bull wrapping... Oh, no, she's good. Oh, mama. Come here. Let's take a look at you. Oh, mama. I'm glad we're doing this because I miss her when she's in breeding season. I wasn't expecting to breed her. And then I ended up breeding her this season. So we'll see if... She's never given me viable eggs. So we'll see if she does. I think we have a number of Patreon supporters that would love to have a baby from Damara. I've paired her with the inspector. So we're hoping for some pinstripe, banana, orange dream, Enchi, fire, pastel combos. Firefly stuff. Nothing, no recessives, just a whole bunch of incomplete dominant and dominant genes. Tried to take a drink of this and Damara's making it so I can't tip my head back. So it didn't work. New Smithsonian, this is such good timing for your super chat. Thanks for that super chat because we are currently seeing my biggest snake. We're not seeing the longest snake, but we are seeing the heaviest one that I have. I don't keep great big snakes. And Damara is, I don't know how much she weighs now. I always say she's 9 pounds. She goes up and down depending on where she's at in breeding season, but she is 5.5 feet long, maybe a little longer than that, and about 9 pounds. black-headed python, Maya, though, is 6 feet long. She's a little bit longer than Damara, but much thinner. So she's not as big. Thanks for that super chat. Tara, thanks for your super chat. Yes, Ron is Naomi's dad. That's right. Ron is a lot of people that have snakes from me. A lot of them have Ron's kids. Ron's quite prolific. Jackie, thanks for that super chat. I wish you would come to the Carolinas. You know what? I do too, Jackie. I enjoy the Carolinas. I was last there when I was a small child, but I really enjoyed it. There were fireflies, and I loved them. One of these days, I'm sure I'll be in the Carolinas at some point. We're just doing a touch more of this. Catherine, you want one of Delilah's babies? I don't think Delilah's going this year. We'll try again next year with her. I thought that she was going to go and then she didn't. But yeah, Delilah makes some amazing babies. That's for sure. Morphidorn, you just missed it. If you rewatch this, you're going to see Bear because I just put him back. I had Bear and Kodiak both out at the same time. I put him back. Jason, I would love to go to Retic Fest, and I'm going to try to make it, but I don't remember off the top of my head when that is, and I don't know what I have going on. Last year, during Retic Fest, I was in the Amazon, and I know I'm not going to be in the Amazon at that time, but it's going to depend on my festival season. But yes, it's something I really want to do if I can. I know you're going to be there. I would love to see you there. Let's see. Yeah, Amy's got a couple Delilah babies. They're both incredible, my favorites, but don't tell any of my other snakes. Yeah, your 2 Delilah babies are pretty incredible. Marty Love and Colin Robinson. Pretty cool snakes. Hey, Mama, you know what? I'm just trying to put you back. Is that cool? I think you're going to be happier if I put you back. You're not trying to be handled right now this season. She does still come out. I have her, it kind of depends on the time of year for Damara. There's a lot of times that I handle her a lot. She hangs out with me. I love hanging out with her, and I miss her during this time of the season. But during this time, I kind of just I want to let her do what she wants to do. So if I see her at the front of the tub and she wants to roam, I let her out and let her roam. I don't make her hang out with me, And the last couple of weeks, she hasn't wanted to. She's been bull wrapping and hanging out in her hide, stuff like that. So I just it's kind of a thing like, let's do everything you want to do, Damara. That's what it is. And then when she's not in breeding season, she's a little bit more cool with whatever, I love that snake though. She's fantastic. All right. What last minute questions can I answer from the chat before we end this? We're over 2 hours and 34 minutes. So for those of you who are still with me and you've been here from the beginning, you're watching this on replay and you've watched the whole thing. I bet you didn't watch the whole thing though. You're listening to the whole thing. That's okay. The visuals weren't great unless I was showing snakes. And there's a good chance that you looked really quick while I was showing snakes. You stopped washing dishes or cleaning snakes, whatever. And you looked when I was showing. So you saw the important parts. Naughty Irishman is asking my thoughts on different axanthic genes. My thoughts are that they're not compatible. So you got to make sure you got the right ones. And I don't, I haven't gotten too deep into axanthic just because I only have one snake that's axanthic, and she is VPI. But some are I know that some are higher quality than others, and I don't know that VPI is the best quality one. The other one, I can't even think of the other one that's supposed to be like the best contrasty one. But the fact that that Anya is axanthic with pastel. She's also Hepford, but she's pastel, and pastel is so good with axanthic, and it makes a lot of contrast. Hang on, we have a super chat, but let me see. There was another question. I'm trying to answer I'm going to get to that super chat in just a second. Morph Adorned. Have a girl. She's in her cool side hide. Should I move her to the warm hide? Humidity is good overall. No, there's no reason to. No, let them be where they want to be. I was saying this earlier in the day. I could say that it was earlier in the live stream, but it was also earlier in the day. I was saying that a lot of people think that snakes just should be in the warmth all the time, and they don't. They shouldn't. They don't want to be. And a lot of snakes enjoy being in the cold side. That's why we have a cold and a warm side, so that they can choose to be where they want to be. So you don't want to move them out of the spot that they want to be in. Toya, thanks for the super chat. Hey Bob, thought I missed y'all. Question. I'm glad you didn't. It's a long live stream this time. Question: which of your snakes would make pied? Do you foresee any coming from your clutches soon? Yes. I have Captain Farrell right up there. He's gonna potentially make some pieds this year. I've got I paired Captain Farrell with Lydia Dietz. Lydia Dietz is a clown het pied, and Captain Farrell is pied with some other genes mixed in there. So I paired them. I also put Bear in there with Lydia once or twice. So we're not quite sure. I'm guessing that it'll be Captain Farrell's just because he went in there more. And then did he? Oh, I paired him with Lucille. Yeah, we'll have a whole clutch of pieds from Lucille, and we'll have half a clutch of pieds from Lydia Dietz. So yeah, there's going to be some pieds in the making. Both of them, I'm guessing, will lay eggs. I haven't really been paying attention. I haven't seen ovulation, but they seem pretty close. I would say that Lucille is pretty close to ovulating, but hasn't. And actually, same with Lydia. Now that I think about the behavior, neither one of them have ovulated yet, but they're close. They're big girls. That means that if they were to ovulate right now, we're still a few months away from babies. So not from eggs, but from babies hatching out of eggs. Joy, thanks for the super chat. Happy National Margarita Day. Oh, it's Margarita Day. I drink a margarita about once every 2 years or so. Let's see. This is a good question. Alex, have your retics ever pushed their faces into the substrate or glass doors? If so, how have you helped them stop? Yes, that's a thing that retics do. And they do it for a number of reasons. But a big reason is that it's too hot for them. So make sure that your temps aren't too warm, because they will, as a response to that, they'll push their faces and they'll destroy their face from pushing. So, a lot of people think that retics need 90 warm, just like ball pythons. And that's too hot for a lot of them. So I keep my retics hot side in the low 80s, like mid to low, but a lot of times low, to keep them from pushing. And then the other reason that mine will push occasionally is just when they see me in the room. They know that I'm the guy that lets them out. And if they want to come out, they'll start pushing. So, and I know that it's only when I'm in the room, because when I leave town, I have cameras on the cages, and they don't even come out of their hide when I'm not in the room. You know, they will occasionally, but they spend most of their time in their hide, and they're not pushing. So it's my fault that they push. But check that heat. That's a big problem. You know, like imagine if you were in a hot room, you couldn't get out, or a hot car that, you know, that it was just hot, making you uncomfortable hot, not deathly hot, but just making you uncomfortable constantly. You'd be pushing on a window too. Okay, we're going to end this pretty soon. More Fedorn, thanks for the additional 99 cents. You may have wanted to ask a question, though. Let me know if you have a question. Oh, here we go. I meant to say my girl is in shed and in the cool side. Still okay. Yeah. Just let them do what they want to do. Don't even worry about it. When they're in shed, make sure that your humidity is good. You know, up to 80 is great for a ball python that's in shed. 70 to 80 is going to be great for them. And then it doesn't matter what temperature they're at. They will find their own temperature. They're really good at knowing what they want, and as long as we give them heat gradient as options, they know where they're at and they know what's comfortable for them. So you don't have to move them because you think they need to be somewhere else. They're just fine. So, most people think that they'll have their snake eat, and then the snake goes into their cold hide, and that's when they think that they should move them. They're like, oh my gosh, my snake is on the cold side and it just ate. And that's the thing that's fine too. A lot of snakes go on the cold side for the first day of digestion because their body actually does produce a little bit of heat. Even though they're cold-blooded animals, they can produce heat, and they do, and you can test it with a temp gun. Their first day of digestion, gun where it is, and then anything else that it's warmer. But that's why it's more, because their body is heating up anyway for the digestion to happen. They're more comfortable on the cool side. And usually after about 24 hours, their body has cooled off enough and they move to the warm side. So they know what to do. So don't even worry about it. Hang on. Let me check this. Amy's telling me more things. Wait, I put Nancy Drew's super chat on screen, but I never addressed it. Really? How crazy is that? You guys, I promise I'm not drunk. Hang on. Oh my gosh, I didn't even see it. What happened there? I totally got distracted. Sorry, Nancy. Would you, thanks for the super chat, by the way. I appreciate it. That was crazy. How sad was that? You're like, oh, he's going to answer my question. And then, oh, no, he's not. And then it's just gone. I'm glad we're back to it. Would you ever keep a 10-foot plus snake like a big retic? I only would if I had somebody here that was willing to work. I would not work with that snake by myself. So I'm a big guy, and I know how to work with snakes, but I also know that a 10-foot plus snake is can easily overpower a big guy, and it's best to have two people. And I don't have two people here; it's just me. So at this point, no. But I love them. I love a big snake. They're so cool. Okay. All right, you guys. I think we're going to end this. I think 2 hours and 45 minutes is plenty for a live stream, right? Thank you so much for being here. Many of you stayed very late because it's a lot later for most of you than it is for me here on the West Coast. I appreciate you. Thanks for being in the chat. I can't wait to rewatch this tomorrow and read the chat. Have a great night. I will see you in another live stream when I'm back from the Amazon. Very excited. See you later.